think did we both catch each other first in WCW? Or was it yeah, it was WCW, and then we both got the WWF.
Yeah. You guys stuck around a little longer than I did. I couldn't afford to stick around.
Well, he said, why did you leave at 94? Now it was after we kind of got, we were supposed to win the belts back.
Yeah.
And Brutus had that accident and he was trying to Hulk and he didn't think. So for 6 months, we built our angle to beat IRS and DiBiase.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hulk came in with Brutus and in 1 month, they weren't over on the tour for one day, but we knew Mike so good. Mike took us to the side and said, "Hey man, you guys won't be in WrestleMania." I said, "What are you talking about?" I thought he was ribbing.
Yeah.
There was no Beaver was trying to need to come back, and his face was, needs money. And Hulk and him were going to face me and Ted. And really? And then the attitude adjusted came, and that was when we were on the European tour. So then when we came back, Vince called me and said, "Your attitude's changed, da-da-da-da-da." He goes, "I'm going to give you a month off without pay." And I said, "Why don't you make it 2? He said, "How about 3? I said, "Is that all you called for?" And then I hung up. And then he called SAG and tried to say, "Well, you're part of this and that." And bring SAG in as a single, and SAG laughed at him because we've been friends for 10. And then about a week went by or 2 weeks by, and then they called us up. And we were sitting there with Vince and we were sitting there with JJ, and they went over for like 30, 45 minutes of what we're doing wrong about it. And then after they went through the whole speech, I said, "But Vince, you gave us 3 months off for attitude with no pay. If me and SAG would have known that, we would have went and did 3 8-balls apiece, flunked your drug test, got 6 weeks off with pay, and we would still be getting paid." And we both laughed at each other, me and SAG, and when we looked at them, it was looking at their tear in the headlights. They said, "No, you guys can have your release." They come in there. We were the last ones to leave with our name and everything. He didn't worry about us getting our name and the hell out. So then we went down. Dusty was booking WCW, and then we went back down to WCW, which was good because there was always another place to go.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's good for But it was good. It was good for the boys. I'm glad there's a lot of places to work now, because one company's not always right, but like you said, it's still in my mind to any wrestler that's out there. Your goal should be WrestleMania. I don't care whoever you are. There is nothing like it, and now it's bigger than ever. Even though I wrestled in front of 68,000 at the RCA Dome and wrestling, but before the war broke out, that was supposed to be at the LA Coliseum. That would have been the most people ever. They wouldn't have. It was Sarge against Tall. Yeah. Then once they had the war, it would have been too much money for security stuff, so they moved it to the LA Arena there. That's just the experiences we've been in. Wembley Stadium, we wrestled in front of 94,000, and then it's just events we had with the WCW. I mean, WCW was great because you worked on the road a lot, but it wasn't as hectic as WWF. Yeah. It was a little bit more calmer, and you had a guaranteed contract that you knew you were getting. Even if you got hurt, you got paid. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Lex kind of started that. Lex was the first because he came from football, and Lex was the first one that started with the contract thing. And which is good. I think it's a good thing, And now the guys are getting treated much better. I think they even get insurance, don't they?
I have no idea, but
we didn't get none of that.
No, zero.
Zero. I'm still paying insurance, and insurance don't pay nothing. But I got it. I finally got it. I didn't have it for a long time.
Well,
I was doing the emergency room thing. Yeah. Because they got to take insurance.
You were talking about the WWE payoffs and all that from the WrestleMania. My experience there in '95 was vastly different.
You never were in WrestleMania?
Never, not a single one.
Not even a small.
Zero, nothing.
Nothing.
I think when I came there in '95, It was.
We had already left.
Yeah, but it was
We
already.
left in '94, right?
Yes.
I think, right? Right.
I came
before
down
that.
like maybe like July, August, I think it was, maybe September, that range. So WrestleMania had already been, and I was gone before the next
When
WrestleMania.
you came back, when I came back to WCW in '99, you were there with Perry, Dean,
and Chris.
Ed, and was Eddie was in there too, wasn't he? Or did he already leave?
He and Chris and those guys all lived together, but it was
You were there for a while.
Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Perry.
Because we had the first family thing, we had a little feud going with you guys.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it was me and Hugh Morse.
yeah.
You know,
You talked about like Vince Lee.
about you got canned, and you know, I mean,
Yeah.
if that's all they got canned for, we smacked the kid in the head. I mean, I mean, what I say, we went to schools. The schools we went to, we got tortured. I mean, you can't do that to people with AIDS.
Yeah.
I mean, we did actually, you know, I mean, shit, they broke Hulkster's leg up, man. Suda broke Hulkster's leg back in the day. You know, I mean, that's the way the mentality was.
Test you before.
Yeah, well, Billy Robinson was he'd come down to help train, and he was a cheap shot. He'd, put you on all fours and jump down, grab his knee, your ribs, and all that stuff, So, all this,
The games.
Yeah, well, they didn't want you. It was like a bad bond of respect. If you can't handle this, you don't deserve to be in the business,